Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central here in Kent, Ohio. Yes, we had a great day today. We're going to have an even better night because we're just about to go ahead and take flight because we're going to make sure that everything is right tonight. Meanwhile, you know what you need to do. If you haven't done it already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel right here on YouTube. Tubular Black Facts channel. That's the place to be. Look for the button right below. If you don't see it there, look above. It's around there somewhere. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and do our words of wisdom for the evening, direct from the island of Jamaica. Okay. Okay. All right, we got one here for you tonight. Pit in the sky, it fall into your yay. Pit in the sky, it fall into your yay. So yay is eyes, and pit is actually spit. So you spit in the sky, it fall into your yay. Now, if you just think about that, it just makes sense. If you spit in the sky, it fall down in your eye. So do you really want to spit in the sky? Maybe not. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and read a story that's really hot. Coming up out of Julius Lester's book, Black Folk Tales. We're going to continue on with part 2 of our story that we started last night. All about my man, the man of the hour. In walks Xxviii. That's right, Xxviii coming in for you. And we're giving this to you raw, live, and direct. So if you got anybody in the room that you think should know about the real deal, you better get them out the room right now. But if you want them to be exposed to some real wisdom, pay attention. Now, it just turns out that Xxviii had been around for quite some time, much longer than the Lord had prescribed for everybody. Because you know, each man is supposed to have what they say, 7 score plus 7 or something like that. There's a prescribed amount of time that you're given on the earth. And Xxviii had gone way past his due date. And so the Lord is calling in his chips and his chits and saying, hey, it's time to go, Stack. So Stack meets death. Death was mighty lonely. Didn't nobody talk to him, and he was getting a little bit tired of it. He wished the Lord would at least let him wear a suit and tie and look speckable. Maybe then he could meet some nice young angel and raise himself a family. The Lord had vetoed that idea too. What took you so long, Death? Oh, Lord, I was trying to get some sleep. You just don't realize how fast folks are dying around here these days. This COVID has got them in its midst, and it just won't turn them loose. Over 700,000 died just in America in the past year or so. It's terrible. Don't tell me you're going to start complaining again. I'm sorry, Lord, but I'd like to see you handle the job as well as I do with no help, no sleep, no wife, no nothing. Well, I got a special job for you today. Can't wait till tomorrow? Nah, it can't wait, Death. Now hush up. There's a man down in Fatback, Georgia, by the name of Xxviii. They say he's the baddest dude that ever lived and walked on the face of the planet Earth. But you know what? He ain't no greater than me or you, Death. And it's about time we pull his number. You should have picked him up 30 years ago. And I want you to send me a memo on why you didn't. Explain it to me, because I want to know. Well, I got such a backlog of work, Lord, all piled up. I don't want to have to be doing your job for you. Deaf, you get the list every day from the Record Bureau. How come you missed this one? If he's escaped for 30 years, who knows who else has been living way past their time? That High John the Conqueror fellow, he's a little bit on the sketchy side too, ain't he? Speaking of folks living past their time, St. Peter, have the librarian bring me all the files on white folks. Seems to me the white folks sure done outlived their time. Anyway, Deaf, go on down there and get Xxviii. Death headed on down to Earth. A long time ago, he used to enjoy the ride, but not anymore. There were so many satellites and other pieces of junk flying around through the air that it was like going through a junkyard barefoot. So he didn't waste any time getting on down to Fatback, Georgia. Now, on this particular day, Xxviii was sitting on the porch, picking the blues on the guitar and drinking, like he always does. All of a sudden, he looked up and saw this pale dude coming toward him in this white sheet, riding up to his house on a white horse. We ain't never had no clan in the daytime before, Xxviii said. Deaf got off his horse, pulled out his address book, and said, I'm looking for Xxviii, Booker T, Washington, Nicodemus, Shadrach, Nat, Turner Jones. Hey, baby, you got it down pat. Give me some skin on that, Jim. I've forgotten a couple of them names myself. Are you Xxviii, Booker T, Hey, look, you ain't got to go through the thing again. I'm the dude. Why? What's going on? What you need? I'm Deaf. Come with me. Xxviii started laughing. You who? You what? Who you say you is? I'm Deaf. Come on, man. I ain't got all day. Be serious. Deaf looked at Xxviii. No one had ever accused him of joking before. I am serious, says Deaf. It's your time to die. Now come on over here. Man, you ain't bad enough to mess with me. I don't think so. Death blinked his eyes. He'd never run up on a situation like this before. Sometimes folks struggled a little bit, but they didn't outright refuse. Xxviii, let's go, Death said in his baddest voice. Man, you must want to get shot. Let me go get my 30-06. Death thought that over for 1 minute. Now, he didn't know how to handle this situation. So he reached in his saddlebags and pulled out his death manual. He looked up resistance and read what it said, but wasn't a thing in there about what to do when somebody threatens you with death. Then he looked up guns, but that wasn't listed either. He looked under everything he could think of, but nothing was of any assistance. So he went back to the poach. You coming or not, Xxviii? Xxviii let one of them 44 bullets whistle past old Death's ear, and Death got hot. What you think you're doing? Death didn't waste no time getting away from there. Before he was sitting in the saddle good, he had made it back to heaven. Lord, you must be trying to get me killed. Do what? Get you killed? Since when could you die? Don't matter. But that man, Xxviii, you just sent me after, took a shot at me. Now listen here, Lord. If you want that man dead, you got to go and get him yourself. How about that? I'm not going back after him. I knew there was some reason I let him live 30 years too long. I'd heard about him on the grapevine, and for all I care, he can live 300 more years. I ain't going back. Now, what you think about that? Okay, okay, says the Lord. I got your point. You made your point. Go on back to sleep. After death had gone, God turned to St. Peter and asked, we haven't had any new applications for that job recently. You must be joking. Well, I was just checking. The Lord lit a cigar. Peter, looks like I'm going to have to use one of my giant deathbed thunderbolts to get that stagger lee. Looks that way. You want me to tell the work crew? The Lord nodded, and St. Peter left. It took 3.412 angels, 14 days, 11 horses, and 32 minutes to carry the giant thunderbolt to the Lord. But he just reached down and picked it up like it was a toothpick. St. Peter, how do you spell stagger lee? Lord, you know everything. You're omnipotent, omniscient, omniscient. You better shut up and tell me how to spell stagger lee. St. Peter spelled it out for him, and the Lord wrote it on the thunderbolt. Then he blew away a few clouds and put his keen eye down on that earth. Hey, St. Peter, will you look at all that killing down there? I ain't seen nothing like this. Yeah, oh, here it is here. Okay, and the Lord put his eye, oh, wait a minute. Oh, here it goes here. You better shut up and tell me how to spell stagger lee. St. Peter spelled it out for him, and the Lord wrote it on the thunderbolt. Then he blew away a few clouds and put his keen eye down on the earth. Hey, St. Peter, will you look at all that killing down there? I ain't never seen nothing like it. Lord, that ain't Georgia. That's Vietnam. The Lord put his great eye across the world. Look at all that sin down there. Women wearing hardly no clothes at all. Check that one out with the black hair, St. Peter. Look at her, disgraceful. Them legs, lordy, lordy. And the Lord put his eye on the earth and went on across the USA to Nevada, through Utah, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, turned right at the Mississippi River, Lord. The Lord turned right and went on down into Tennessee. Oh, excuse me. All right, now, take a left at Memphis, Lord. The Lord turned left at Memphis and went on up through Nashville and on down to Chattanooga into Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Valdosta, Rolling Stone, Georgia, until he got way back out in the woods to Fatback. He let his eye go up and down the country roads until he saw Stagger Lee sitting on the porch. That's him, Lord. That's him. That's the one I'm talking about right there. And the great God Almighty, the God of Nat Turner and Rat Brown, the God of Muddy Waters and B.B. King, the God of Aretha Franklin and the Impressions, this great God Almighty, everlasting et intera pax hominibus, and all them other good things, drew back his mighty arm. He drew it back. He drew it back. He drew it way back. Watch your aim now, Lord, and unloose that giant thunderbolt. Boom! And that was the end of Stagger Lee. Or was it? Because you can't mess with the Lord, but then again, if you Stagger Lee, you might even be able to do that. Well, when the people found out Stagger Lee was dead, you ain't never heard such hollering and bawling until the break of day. and crying as well in all your life. The women were beside themselves with grief because Stagger Lee was nothing but a sweet man, as far as they knew. Come the day of the funeral, and Stagger Lee was laid out in a $10,000 casket, had on a silk mohair suit, and his Stetson hat was in his hand. In his right coat pocket was a brand new deck of cards, and his left coat pocket was a brand new 44 with some extra rounds of ammunition and a can with some extra rounds of ammunition. Oh, and a can of mace. That's what I was looking at. And by his side was his guitar. Folks came from all over the country to Stack's funeral, and all of them put little notes in Stagger Lee's other pockets, which were messages they wanted Stagger Lee to give to their kinfolk when they got to hell. The funeral lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. All the guitar pickers and blues singers had to come sing one last song for Stagger Lee. All the backsliders had to come backslide one more time for Stagger Lee. All the gamblers had to come one more time just for Stagger Lee. They had to touch Stack's casket for a little taste of luck, as a matter of fact. And all the women had to come shed a tear as they looked at him for the last time. Those that had known him were crying about what they weren't going to have anymore, and those that hadn't known him were crying over what they had missed. Even the little bitty tiny ones were shedding. And we're going to pick up from right there. Oh, wait a minute. We're about done. Let's see how much more we have to go. Okay, you know what? Let me see if I can go ahead and read the rest of this. We got about a minute left. Let's see what I can do. After all the singing and crying and shouting was over, they took Stagger Lee on out and buried him. They didn't bury him in no cemetery. Stagger Lee had to have a cemetery all his own. They dug his grave with a silver spade, lowered him down with a golden chain. They went back to their homes, not quite ready to believe that Stack was dead and gone. But you know, it's mighty hard to keep a good man down, and long about the 3rd day, Stagger Lee decided to get on up out of that grave and go on up, check out heaven. Stack just couldn't see himself waiting on Judgment Day. The thought of that white man blowing that trumpet on Judgment Day made him sick to his stomach, and Stagger Lee figured he was supposed to have his own judgment. Anyhow, he started on off for heaven. Of course, it took him a long time to get there because he had to stop on all the clouds and teach the little angels how to play pitty pat and coon can and all like that. But eventually, he got near to heaven. Now, as he got close, he started hearing all this harp music and hymns singing. Stagger Lee couldn't believe it. He listened some more, and then he shrugged his shoulders. I'm approaching heaven from the wrong side. This can't be the black part of heaven. Not with all that hymn singing and harp music I hear. So Stack headed on around to the other side of heaven, and when he got there, it was stone deserted. I mean, wasn't nobody there. Streets was as empty as the president's mind. So Stack cut on back around to the other side of heaven. When he got there, St. Peter was playing bridge with Abraham, Jonah, and the whale. When they looked up and saw who it was, though, they split, leaving St. Peter there by himself. You ain't getting in here, St. Peter yelled. Don't want to either. Hey, man, where are all the colored folks at? We had to send them all to hell. We used to have quite a few, but they got to rocking the church service, you know, just couldn't even sing a hymn without it coming out sounding like the blues, so we had to get rid of them before we started to lose. We got a few nice colored folks left, and they nice, respectable people. Stagger Lee laughed. Hey, man, you messed up, huh? Yeah, man, this ain't heaven, this is hell. And Stagger Lee took off straight for hell. It was about 2,000 miles. He was about 2,000 miles away, and he could smell the barbecue cooking and hear the jukebox is playing. And he started a running. He got there, and there was a big Black Power sign up on the gate. He rung on the bell, and the dude who come to answer it recognized him immediately. Hey, everybody, Stagger Lee's here. And the folks came running from everywhere to greet him. Hey, baby, what's shaking? What's going down, bro? What took you so long to get here? Stagger Lee walked in, and the brothers and sisters had put down wall-to-wall carpeting, indirect lighting, and best of all, they'd installed themselves some air conditioning. Stagger Lee walked around, checking it all out. Yeah, y'all got it together. Got it all up tight. After he'd finished checking it out, he asked, any white folks down here? Just the hip ones, and ain't too many of them, but they all right. They know where it's at. Solid, Stagger Lee noticed an old man sitting over in a corner with his hands over his ears. What's his problem? Oh, that's the devil. He just can't get himself together. He ain't learned how to deal with niggas yet. Stagger Lee walked over to him. Hey, man, get your pitchfork and let's have some fun. I got my 44. Come on, let's go one round. The devil just looked at Stagger Lee real sad, like never said a word. Stagger Lee took the pitchfork and laid it on the shelf. Well, that's hip. I didn't want no stuff out of you, no how. I'm going to rule hell by myself. And that's just what he decided to try and do. And there we have it. The story of Stagger Lee, Booker T, Washington, Nicodemus, Sassafras Jones. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and move on by just telling all you little children out there that lay those little heads on your little pillows, on your little bed, close those your eyes, and wait on that sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you'll know that it's time for you to rise and shine, old children of mine. And in the meantime, all you adults out there need to go ahead and, what do they say? A luta continua. Continue to struggle by going ahead and subscribing to our Tubular Black Facts channel right here on YouTube. If you haven't done it yet, now's the time. Do it while you can still hear my rhyme. In the meantime, we're going to move on to the extra right after we give a shout out and a wave to Dr. Kaweem Kawi. All right. I'm glad you've been on here watching me, Kaweem Kawi. And here we go to the transition.